like 5 or 6 times.
You can edit all this shit.
Yeah, I can edit it.
Because otherwise...
Yeah.
Very unprofessional of you, Joe Fari, to be wearing the Raptors hat when you gotta, be a journalist.
Bias?
No, just
Thought
kidding.
about that.
I was joking.
Didn't really want it on the shot. I don't want to be promoting. They can pay me for that.
You gotta pay. Yeah, that's Joe Fari's paid.
Okay, let's go.
Giannis Bunkus, Joey Fafari,
I go by JD, though, for on-air stuff.
JD.
That's right, boy. That's right.
All right, let's go.
What are you going by, Joey? Joey Fafari. That's it. Welcome to another episode of Beyond the Arc. I'm your host, Mike Roach. JD,
What's up?
Joey Fafari,
Let's get this.
or should I say Roberto Luongo?
It's close. It
What
really
is it?
is. You could probably get free drinks at, like, a Vancouver restaurant.
It's happened lots of times.
Yeah, it's happened, eh? You just got to get the playoff beard, like, growing real heavy, like, just, like, real thick. Get the backwards hat. You got to get more grease in your hair, though.
All right, guys, we got to get back on to the NBA. We got a packed house for you today. First up, the last time we spoke about Dwight Howard and where he was going to be. Since then, he has joined the Houston Rockets. Okay? Good choice or bad one?
Did you guys... I didn't catch your last one, so where did you predict he was going to go? Did you guys both...
I said Houston.
You said
I
Houston?
said Houston right from the beginning.
You
said
said
it looked like it was going to be Houston, yeah.
So you both thought Houston, eh?
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty clear from the car. And I guess I'll take it right away. I thought that was a good fit. I think people thought Houston because it made sense. He clearly, like Shaq said, did not like the limelight in LA. I don't think he got along that well with Kobe. There was rumors that one of the things that was key for him staying in LA was that Kobe handed him the reins and let him kind of take over the team. And all of us watch ball. We know that Kobe wasn't going to hand over anything until he was done. So I like the move for Dwight. He goes in with James Harden, Chandler Parsons, good coaching staff. There's rumors of Akeem coming down now.
He wants a lot of money.
Yeah, I think it's a good fit.
The only problem I have with Dwight Howard is he causes all this stir for the past 2 years or whatever it's been.
Stir? What stir?
And all of a sudden, he sells it. Oh, I want to, win these titles. I'm serious, blah, blah, blah. He goes to LA where titles are expected and banners are on the wall. And then once he's in the spotlight, he wants to get out of it. It's like he throws himself out there, expects all this greatness.
I don't know if he necessarily wants to get out of it.
Well, going to Houston,
Yeah,
leaving LA to go to Houston isn't exactly
You want to get
staying in the spotlight. Shaq said something like that.
I don't think leaving for Houston is exactly a bad move.
No, it's not a bad move, but
no.
There's no question that he's escaping the spotlight.
Yeah.
Let's be real
He
here.
couldn't handle it, whatever way you want to look at it. He got out of there for a reason. And I don't think it was just Kobe.
No team, though, including the Boston Celtics, New York Knicks, is covered like the Los Angeles Lakers. They're the big team in the NBA. By leaving them, Dwight is escaping the spotlight. No question about it.
But do you think it's more of his fault or more of Jerry Buss's fault?
I don't really think it's anybody's fault necessarily. I just think it was something that wasn't really meant to be. I don't think it was ever really going to happen. When you have Kobe, who needs the ball all the time.
Excuse me, not Dr. Buss, Jim Buss.
That's right. That's a pretty good distinction to make.
Either way, I don't think
huge difference there.
They had the experiment and didn't go well. They brought in Nash and him, and Gasol was injured for most of it. They didn't really have everybody healthy either. That's one thing we have to remember. How many games did they play with all their guys healthy? Did they play any together all healthy? If they did, it was a handful.
Yeah,
Nash missed 3/4 of the season.
All right,
Powell missed so much time.
Going back to if there's fault to lie with anyone, I don't think you can lie fault with Dwight Howard. Like we've all said this. You're going to go as any kind of person to whatever job fits you the best, and clearly that was his decision. From the Lakers' standpoint, they knew that bringing this guy in, that he's a bit of a flake. Like, they saw what happened with Orlando. Remember at the trade deadline when he all of a sudden pulled back and was just like, I don't want to be traded at the last
After
minute?
he wanted to be.
Exactly. So they knew that this guy was a bit of a flake. If there's anybody that has to wear the mark of shame for this, it's definitely the Lakers organization for not tying him up to a long-term deal when they acquired him. They knew the risk.
So if Phil Jackson was the coach of this team right now, where would Dwight Howard be?
He'd still be there, I think.
Yeah, he has to be there. Phil finds a way to keep him there.
Okay, with that being said, Dwight Howard in a Houston Rockets jersey alongside James Harden, how good are the Rockets?
Yet to be seen, but they clearly have a ton of potential.
I think that they have to be a
How good
top
are
four
they
team,
currently,
top four right away.
as they stand right now, without them making any more moves? How are they right now?
They still don't have much depth, though. That's their problem. They have, like, no depth. But obviously, I don't know. The Spurs are still going to be a top 3 team, you would think. The Clippers are probably going to be a top 3 team.
I
And
think the
OKC.
Thunder is still the team.
And
to beat.
OKC. So after those 3 teams, I guess you put them there ahead of the Grizzlies? Would you put them
I
ahead
don't
of
know.
the
I don't know if
Grizzlies?
you put them ahead of the Grizzlies
That's
right
the
away.
thing. 4 or 5.
You got to look at it this way. Like they're top 3. Do you look at Parsons as in the top 3, or do you put Ashik in the top 3? Either way, it's one of those two guys. They're top. Let's say they're top 4. That's their top 4 core. I don't know if that top 4 core matches up with the Grizzlies' top 4 and immediately passes them by. I think they have to prove it. Especially, do we get the Dwight pre-back surgery or do we get the Dwight post-back surgery that seemed to be laboring a little bit? Plus, there's still a question mark of how James Harden goes to filling kind of back into the second fiddle role. There's been a lot of talk out of that coming out of Houston that it's going to be difficult for James to adapt to a situation where he's not going to be just relied upon to score the ball the entire time, that he's going to have to defer to Dwight a lot.
I think that he's still the go-to guy there, especially with Dwight's health. And he's shown the whole season that he can dish the ball.
Yeah.
That's a big part of his game. He gets to the rim, he dishes the ball, and all those other guys like Parsons and Delfino, they chill the three-point line, they take their shots. And that works for Dwight too, because that's going to free up space.
Yeah, no,
And they put up points. How many points? They average 110 points, something like that, 105. Like, they can score the ball. They don't have the household names that the other teams do, but they have scoring power.
Okay, with that being said, Dwight Howard is officially a Houston Rocket. The Lakers pick up Chris Kaman. What does all this mean for the LA Lakers right now?
Well,
Kobe's, is
But
he
he's supposed to
ever
be
going to
back in
be the
November.
Kobe that we saw last year?
Well, I think it's fair to say that we don't know definitively when Kobe will be back. It's if you want to compare him to somebody, the comparison is Chauncey Billups because he suffered the same injury, relatively close in terms of age and wear on the tires. Chauncey didn't come back nearly the same guy. Now he goes to Detroit. He's basically just signing there as like a sign to end
Right
his
off
career.
the sunset.
Yeah,
So
basically.
what are you saying, JD?
I think that Kobe defies the odds. I think that that's the expectation of most people. I think that he's going to come back stronger than Billups did.
These are your expectations?
I think these are my expectations and the general expectations of the public.
Give me PPG per game.
I don't
Next
think that's
season.
going to draw.
Well, this season, I think if anything, it goes up.
How many games do you think he plays?
I think that next year he plays around 50 games. I think that's generous. I think 50 games would be like a generous season for him.
Good.
That 50 games and the point per game, he's still hovering around like 24, 25 points. You got to think, right? What Kobe has left, the only two things he cares about is chasing the ring, the past MJ ring, and the scoring record. He wants to get the scoring record. So the only way for him to do that is to keep chucking up shots. He's going to keep doing that. He's Kobe Bryant. So I don't think his point per game falls off. His player efficiency might fall off. His shooting percentage might go down. He might not have the same pop, but he's still going to shoot the ball as much as he wants.
Let's say he only plays 50 games. Joey, those other 32 games where he's gone, what happens with the Lakers?
The Lakers still don't have much depth. Kaman, everybody talks so negatively about him. I don't think he's that bad of a center. He's only going to play probably 25, 30 minutes.
He's another injury-prone guy, too, though.
Yeah, and then you look at Gasol, and Gasol, I love the guy, but he's been getting injured a lot the past couple seasons. And if he's healthy, they can withstand Kobe being gone for 30 or 40 games and still get in the playoffs. They did it this year.
Does no one have faith in the Steve Nash, Pau Gasol pick and roll?
Steve Nash, another
I
guy.
don't.
Like, if Steve's healthy and Power healthy, they're probably maybe the 6th seed in the West, if they're healthy.
That would be pretty high.
Huh?
6th seed. That'd be high.
If they're healthy? If
That's
everybody's
pretty
healthy?
high.
If they made the 6th seed, the Lakers this year, I'd be pretty shocked.
Look
You
at
talk
how
about
bad they
ben-
started last year and they finished 8th.
You talk about bench depth, though, right now, and it's just like, who comes off the bench?
Nick Young is pretty much...
They lost Earl Clark. He's gone. Nick
Jordan
Young.
Hill.
Solid.
Jordan Hill's still there?
I like Nick Young. He's a good pick.
Nick Young, I'm not a big fan of.
I'm
Nick
not a
Young
big
is
fan
gonna
of, but
have
he's
his-
still an upgrade on their bench. They had nobody coming off the bench last year.
How much of an
Nobody.
upgrade is he, though, from Jody Meeks? Like, really,
Nick Young can do a
realistically.
lot more than Jody.
I think
I think
he
I'm
can
not
do
Nick
more
Young's
than
can
biggest
create a
fan,
shot
but-
a little bit better, but I don't know if he's that much better of a shooter. It's like Swaggy P, I'm not buying that. Bruce Arthur's
he'll
summed that
definitely
up
average
best.
more points. I don't know how efficient or how nice it'll be, but I think that you'd rather have him coming off the bench than Jody Meeks.
All right, okay, guys, hold on. We got to move on, but we're staying in L.A. I want to talk about Doc Rivers, Chris Paul re-signing.
My boys.
Yeah, that's your boys. They ain't saying nothing when they get the Grizz every year in the playoffs. But
The year before they did.
let's not
How can
talk
you
about
forget that comeback?
Yeah.
Speaking of Swaggy P.
Yeah, that was his moment.
Yeah, it really was.
Apparently, that's like endeared him to Clippers fans forever because of that.
So they lose Bledsoe, they lose Butler, they get Darren Collison, J.J. Redick, Jared Dudley. How good are the Clippers going to be?
The bench, I don't know. It's tough. Like, I love Eric Bledsoe, love the guy. But really, as a pro, I don't know where his ceiling is. I don't think he'll ever be able to shoot the ball. He's a pass-first point guard by default because he can't really do much else.
Pass first?
That's
I
what
don't know.
that's what he's billed as now, a pass-first point guard. He doesn't take any shots because he can't.
He's a dribble drive passer.
Yeah, like
he's not a jump shooter.
He's a great defender, but you need to pair him with a shooting guard that can fill the basket because he can't do that. But looking back at them, I don't know. Like, their depth, the Clippers' depth last year is probably the best in the league. They probably had the best full 1 to 12 roster in the league. They bring in Dudley, pretty good defender, pretty good shooter. JJ Redick, really good shooter, decent defender.
Did you
I don't
just
think
say
that they're
J.J.
really-
Redick can defend?
He's a decent defender. I'd say he's
Decent?
average.
I don't. I think he's below average. He's gotten better over the years.
He's
I think he used to be the
respectable.
worst, but he's.
Anyway,
He
I'm
can
just saying,
shoot.
when it's all
He
said
can
and done,
shoot, yeah.
when it's
Let's
all said
say
and
that.
done, don't think they're going to really lose much off the bench.
You know what my problem is with the Clippers? If you read those names out again.
DeAndre Jordan. I can't stand
Well,
him.
you read those names out though. What was their
Oh,
problem
Lord.
last year? They didn't
Interior.
they didn't have anybody on the inside
And they
that
didn't
could come
address
off the
that.
bench. And what do? They go get a bunch of guards. I like Dudley. I think that's a great fit for them. I don't know how. Again, he's a bit of a shady guy when it comes to that corner three right now. His numbers have been dipping there, but still, great player. I think he's a much better team. He was a waste on the Suns. I really like Redick shooting. I love what he can bring. I thought that the signing of Collison was sneaky under the wire there. He goes back home to L.A. He's going to love it, but there's nobody else in the front court again. I don't see how when they match up against teams like the Grizzlies again, how they don't get pounded inside by the Z-Bone.
Yeah, but what kind of impact is Doc Rivers going to have when he gets a hold of that front court?
But what can you do with DeAndre Jordan? Not much. You can't do much with him. Blake Griffin, everybody called him soft this offseason. He said he's going to come out and not be soft. Like, even his moves, like, everybody wants to see him develop more of a consistent and back to the basket offensive game. He hasn't done that. Defensively, he's not even average. So when you go against teams like the Grizzlies, who overmatch most teams interior, what are you going to do? Carl Landry was the guy I really would have liked them to go get.
Yeah, that would have been nice. They needed an
Definitely an
interior
undersized guy, but he can play the forward, score points in the paint. And the Clippers, all they have, really is 3-point shooters.
Yeah.
And maybe some guys that can get to the net, maybe. Blake Griffin's the only guy that can get points in the paint, not by dribbling, with his back to the basket. The only guy. And even him, he's not a great post scorer.
That's exactly it. You're just relying. The Clippers have the same problem, which is that they're only going to be relying on Chris Paul to create on their offensive end. Because you look at it, they're going to put the ball down low. It's not like Blake Griffin or DeAndre Jordan is going to cause defenses to collapse completely off that three-point arc and give those great looks for guys like Redick.
I heard DeAndre Jordan is working on his mid-range.
Is he working on his free throws too?
Don't pay attention to some of the things I say.
DeAndre Jordan working on his mid-range. I think he's got a lot more to work on than that.
Remember that all pretty much air ball free throw he did when he shot at a basket?
course.
Oh, he
wide
shot a
left?
couple of those.
And then tweeted this: "Who opened up the door at the Staples
yeah,
Center?"
that's it, yeah. That was good. No, he's a funny guy. No question about he's got great personality. I don't like him at all as an interior scorer. I think he's overrated. I know if the Clippers had a do-over, they would have let him walk to what was it, Golden State?
For
Yeah, they
55 or 60 million.
They offered him that massive offer sheet deal, and then the Clippers matched. You know that if they could go back on that, they would.
I would have let him walk too because he's one of the most overrated bigs in
He's
the
right.
entire
It's the most
NBA.
overrated front court in the NBA.
Well, I used to argue, really off topic, really quick. I used to argue with my friends all the time: JaVale McGee or DeAndre Jordan. And I'm a Clippers fan, and I always said JaVale McGee.
Hell yeah, I would take
Always.
JaVale McGee.
He can hit a free
I
throw.
still wouldn't. I wouldn't touch Pierre, as he likes to call himself on Twitter. I'm not touching that guy with a 10-foot pole. That was the
over
biggest,
Jordan.
Yeah, no, I'm serious. Even over Jordan, I'd rather have Jordan. At least I know what I'm getting
That's a
from this
slap
guy.
in the face to Pierre.
At least I know what I'm getting from that guy. Yeah, Pierre. No, Pierre gets no love from me. Google Pierre's top 10 mishaps.
We don't want to see that.
I've seen it all on Shaqtin' a Fool already.
Yeah.
But all right, guys, we got to stop here. But we'll be back talking about the Eastern Conference. That and a lot more on Beyond the Arc.
Hit this stop on that. Actually, it's not even recording.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Ooh, that was alright, guys.
Yeah, that wasn't bad.